Yo, what's good, my people? It's your boy, Big Chris, aka the Compton Animator, and I'm here to bring you another WWE main event, NXT, and Smackdown review. So tonight, reviewing WWE, all those shows for the week of June, I would say 1st through 5th. So let's get into these reviews. And we'll start off with Happy 4th of July, everybody. I'm recording this the night of 4th of July. I had to wait for the fireworks to stop. They're still, you can hear them like faint in the background. So if you hear like a bunch of banging going on, that's the fireworks. That's not me. But so yeah, Happy 4th of July. Ho! But first news of the week, you had Emma, who was arrested for shoplifting. Ah, man. So she was arrested for supposedly shoplifting, said that she stole an iPod case, and her story was that she used the checkout counter at Walmart, and she didn't check that one out on accident, so it became up stolen. She was stopped for it and arrested. I forget where they were. I think it was Connecticut, but it happened. The big crazy story out this came that WWE actually let her go and fired her. But like an hour later, rehired her, saying that they just evaluated it and stuff, which was very interesting. Seeing how other guys had worse shit, like Swagger, who was caught with a DUI, or Cameron for lying to the cops and stuff. So very interesting, very very interesting. And I was surprised to actually see them actually fire at one point. So I'm not sure what the punishment is going to be for her, but hopefully she can bounce back from this and. They will let her hold up her story. I heard that the reason why they tried to fire her was because they thought her visa was going to go out for the whole incident, but nothing I guess happened from that, and she only got 1 day of community service for it. So, girl, don't use them self checkout counters no more. Go to fucking regular checkout and just wait. So next story, Renee Young, the first woman commentator in a while, actually commentated on Superstars this week with Todd Phillips. So I watched a couple little snippets of it. She did an okay job. She commentates on NXT sometimes and is okay when she doesn't have somebody like Alex Riley near her that's fucking her all over. So she did an okay job there. And let's get into our first review of the week, and that is WWE main events. WWE main event for June 1st, 2014, and you kick off the show with Paul Heyman and Cesaro. Cesaro and Paul Heyman come out, and Paul Heyman basically starts talking about how Cesaro's wearing a patch now from the incident with Kofi Kingston gouging his eye. And he says that the whole beat up at the end of Kofi Kingston actually winning that match was because of the eye gouge. So I like that they used that, the fact that he poked him in the eye to, play up to the story. And don't fucking Cesaro look like Sagat here. I was laughing my ass off when I seen him come with this. I wish they would have kept it on. It came off later on in the show, but I wish they would have kept the eye patch on. I like him with the look with the eye patch. You could probably just take it off during the match or something, but I actually like that look. So he basically goes and blames all that stuff on Kofi Kingston, and he starts talking about how Cesaro's going to win the IC title at the Battle Royal at Battleground. So just him going in. I actually like this beginning of the promo. I like the way Paul Heyman used the stuff to play on to the whole with Kofi Kingston, to play on more with Cesaro just getting angry and more rougher as he plays onto this character. I think right now Cesaro most definitely has something to shoot for, and I guess Paul Heyman something to forcefully go for. So I really did like that. You get Dolph Ziggler, who comes out and he basically goes on his whole spiel about how Cesaro hasn't really done nothing since basically WrestleMania, doing a whole Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal thing. And he just starts talking about how, showing off his credentials and saying he's won all this, and Cesaro basically won nothing. We all know he won the U.S. title, but, saying he's basically doesn't have anything to prove, anything to show for as far as work goes right now, as far as, something big time. So he goes on to that. Then you get Big E, who comes out, starts doing a whole preacher voice. Ryback comes out, and Ryback starts going off on the whole Battle Royal thing. And then you get Rob Van Dam comes out, and he just kind of like hippie, just starts going in and just saying, oh, all you guys are great, and you're great in the ring and stuff like that, but I'm gonna win at the Battle Royal. I'm Rob Van Dam. So I thought this part was okay. I'm still thinking of Big E's whole preacher thing isn't really getting over. He needs to find a way to mix that in real good with the crowd and to get them to either say what or or something like that. But everyone else here was okay, and it really did nothing for me that much. After that, you get all of them. They start fighting in the ring, and it's basically heels and faces fighting each other. And Ryback ends up getting thrown out the ring with Cesaro escaping before that. After that, you get a match versus the Wyatts versus R-Truth and Xavier Woods, and it's basically the Wyatts just running over those two guys, trying to get some little, just get more power onto them. Xavier Woods had a little bit of a comeback mid-match, and he was actually beating up on Eric Rowan for a minute, but Eric Rowan finally came back and just hit him with the couple of hits, and then finished him off with Eric Rowan's little side slam, and it was a mediocre match at best. So next you get a backstage segment with Renee and Paul Heyman and Cesaro, and I thought this was pretty cool where Paul Heyman just starts going on about Daniel Bryan and Bad News Barrett and just talking about how, they haven't really done anything right now. They're all injured and stuff, and, Cesaro got injured and he came back to fight. Those two guys get injured and they're talking about surgeries and all this other stuff and they're not fighting. So I like that he pushed up on that and beefing up Cesaro as how strong he is. Even as a guy with an injured eye right now, he's still going to get in there. He's going to fight. So I really did like that a lot. So next you get Alberto Del Rio, and he has a confrontation with Sheamus where we find out that Sheamus is having this what do you call it, 4th of July tournament for the world title. So not tournament, but 4th of July match. Invitational, I think that's what they called it. But Alberto Del Rio accepts it and says he wants to fight him for the title, so they're going to have a match on SmackDown. It was really nothing to that segment. And next you get a match with the Funkadactyls versus Nikki Bella, and Stephanie McMahon comes on the screen and says Nikki's going to have a partner for this match, and she introduces Alicia Fox. Nikki looks a little bit pissed off at it. I like that they did play up to this, and putting Alicia Fox was interesting to see what she did in this match, and it was basically a nothing match. Nikki and the Nikki and the Funkadactyls fought for a little bit. Both of the Funkadactyls was showing the whole little thing of them not getting along with each other. Nikki goes for a tag, and Alicia Fox jumps back and not lets Nikki tag. Then Nikki ends up getting beat up and pinned. So you had basically that, and Alicia Fox laughed her way outside. So, this match was okay for what it was. I did like the way that they positioned Alicia Fox here and, putting the crazy girl with Nikki and just pushing more towards the feud with the Bellas and Stephanie. I did like that. And I also like the way that, they just played the whole thing with the Funkadactyls here as well. Hopefully they can push more of that and, we can get something better out of that. There's a lot going with the Divas right now, so that's very interesting. So next we get our main event, which is Ryback and Cesaro versus Big E, Rob Van Dam, and Dolph Ziggler. And they have an okay match here. Just, guys going at each other. You get Cesaro, who ends up getting the eye patch taken off in mid-match. And they just haven't, just going back and forth. Dolph Ziggler got beat up for a while, but he came back towards the end and actually helped pick up the win here. And I think, I believe Big E got the pin here. I'm not sure, but they won the match. It was an okay match for what it was. Nothing too much to it. The crowd started getting into it a little bit towards the end of the match once Dolph Ziggler got in, but it was nothing crazy much to it. I believe Dolph Ziggler got the win here with a zigzag over on for Cesaro. So it was a pretty okay match for what it was. So next you get your WWE NXT review, which happened on the 3rd of June 2014. And first you get Enzo Amore and Big Cass who come out and they start doing their whole little stick, and the crowd knows every part of Enzo Amore's speech. They come out, do that, SAWFT soft, and they get ready for their matches. Big Cass versus Sylvester Lefort, and so Lefort comes out and he starts talking shit about the crowd and calling themselves French and stuff, and says that New Jersey is whack basically. But I believe Enzo and Cass are from Queens, so that was a little weird. But he comes out, do his thing, and I like these two little intro parts where both guys are getting in each other's faces and basically saying their whole spick. You get actually Sylvester Lefort, who gets into Big Cass's face, and he starts, tapping his chest and stuff like that, and just basically acting like an asshole to him. And I really did like that, and I thought that was, just their size difference made it all for that match right there. So next you get a match between those two guys, and Sylvester got a couple moves off, but it really wasn't anything too prominent. Um, Cass ends up hitting him with his little slam. I forget what they call it, and then hits him with the Empire Elbow. I remember this name, and picks up the win for this whole team. And you have LaForte and Marcus Louis walk off pissed off. Next, you get a backstage segment with Tyler Breeze, Renee Young, and Adrian Neville, and it's basically Adrian Neville talking to Renee Young and about the whole everything that's going on with him and Breeze and stuff. So Breeze comes there and Adrian says, "Why not have a title match with me tonight?" Tyler Breeze says, "No, I can't. That I have a finger injury," and he said he injured it in a hand modeling accident, which I thought was hilarious. Like, just this dude Tyler Breeze and everything that he does to me is very funny, and just the way they interact with him, I thought that was really good. So, sorry about that. I'm looking for fucking something. But yeah, I really did like everything that they were doing there in this, and basically Tyler Breeze just walks away from that. So next you get a promo with Bull Dempsey, and they're just basically playing up his character and, going over talking about how big and strong of a man he is. I saw some pictures earlier with him where he had a chain around his neck, and he basically came to the ring with that. I wish they would actually add that to his gimmick. I thought that was working. I guess he probably wore it when he first debuted, but I actually like that look for him better than, just the straight singlet with nothing else to him. Making him kind of, the bulldog or the, just the street tough guy would make him look really good. So his promo, the little promo package was okay for him, just showing his dominance. Hopefully, he can come out swinging harder, hitting harder, and, be a stronger, tougher guy than he was at the last match. So next you get a match with what's the girl's name? Becky and Bayley versus Sasha Banks and Charlotte. And you get Becky and Bayley who come out together, and they say the names of the inflatable man. I forget what they were called, but you end up getting them in a match where I thought the match was okay. It was a bit slow. Most of the match was basically Bayley getting beat up on for most of it. Finally, Becky gets it's hard to say their names back and forth, but Becky ends up getting herself tagged in, and she starts going roughshod, then ends up getting hit with the I believe it was either her, I think it was her. They got hit with Charlotte's bow down to the Queen, and Charlotte and Bayley and Charlotte and Sasha end up picking up the win here. Like I said, I thought this was an okay match, a little average. I thought that Bayley was getting beat down on for too long here. I would have liked to see a little bit more just, back and forth with Bayley here, and not just Sasha and Charlotte showing their dominance. They probably did this because this is the last time that we may end up seeing these two girls as a tag team with Sasha and Charlotte. After they won, you get Charlotte who goes and attacks Becky. Bayley comes out, throws Sasha Banks out of the ring, and then Charlotte just walks away and does nothing about it. And after that, you end up getting a backstage segment with Charlotte and Sasha Banks, who they start getting into a conflict with each other, and Sasha's asking why Charlotte didn't help her out. And basically, Charlotte ends up saying that they're, breaking apart, and, she doesn't want to be a part of the BFFs no more. And Sasha ends up saying that, she never had any rips in the BFF before Charlotte came along, and Charlotte basically hypes herself up as the NXT Divas champion. So as far as the match goes, it was pretty average. The backstage segment was a little bit too scripted for me, but I thought, just the breaking up and stuff like that was. That was another thing that was very average to me. I would have liked them to not break up backstage like they did, and to play it more up, even having probably pushing it more with Summer Rae there. So I have no idea where they're going with this, and how are they going to push this to the next whatever pay-per-view or whatever special event that they have. But I'm interested to see what happens. Hopefully these girls can, get into a more dominant match. That was my whole theme of tonight. Just, you're not feeling the dominance from the people in the ring. So next you get a backstage segment with Tyson Kidd and Renee Young, and they're basically going on, not backstage segment, but a backstage interview with Tyson Kidd and Renee Young. And you get Renee Young asking Kidd about all these questions about how, you know, everything that's been going on with him and his wife, with him and Adrian Neville, and with him and Sami Zayn. And the way Tyson Kidd is answering all these questions is like his wife scripted it for him to answer it these way. And she asks him things about, you know, whether or not he's living in his wife's shadow and stuff, and he calling themselves equal. And he's saying, you know, just basically kind of throwing off the question, not really giving solid answers to him, but they're sounding fake and like they were scripted for him, and you could tell he was playing that up, and I really did like that. I thought that was a really good way for him to, you know, play up a heelness, but showing that, you know, he's trying not to be a heel. He's trying to be cordial in this interview. I really did like that, and it goes down where Renee asks Tyson Kidd whether or not him and Natalya are having marriage problems, and he says, what kind of question is that, and then walks away. So I actually really liked that interview. I heard a few people say they didn't like it too much, but I liked that interview. I liked the way that Tyson Kidd was acting towards Renee. So next you get a match between CJ Parker and a debuting Steve Coulter. You get CJ Parker, who comes out. He has new music. It's kind of like a hippie 70s style music, and it has like these little messages that come up saying there is no plan B for the earth and stuff like that. He takes a sign from the crowd that has woods and crossed out on it, and at first I was thinking, does he not want there to be woods? And then he goes into the announcers, I think, go into this whole thing about it's supposed to be about Xavier Woods, and he doesn't like Xavier Woods, so I don't think they probably should have put Xavier on there, so it would be more clear that he wants to talk shit about Xavier. But the match itself was below average. CJ didn't really do anything too special here. All hits look soft, like he was throwing kid hits, and he ends up with a heel kick to pick up the win here. So I didn't really like the match too much. I thought that, you know, he could have done better in the match. The promo afterwards, he just basically talked shit about Xavier Woods, saying that he's been put on Raw, he's going for his doctorate, and he's basically done nothing with his time while he's been on Raw but dress up in American costume and get beat up by Rusev. So, and dance with Funkadactyls and stuff. So, and he actually, I think he said that he became a Funkadactyl. So I thought that was pretty funny, but it really does not push the whole eco thing that he was pushing with the whole carrying the signs and the crowd thing. I like what in the match where he was telling the dude that it's your fault for what's happening to the planet, but, you know, he got to push that more. That turns him into a heel. That has something that connects him with the crowd. Him just talking shit about Xavier really does nothing for anybody, because they have to like Xavier first, which, since he's been on Raw and that pushing him down, not enough people like him. So I really didn't like this whole segment with CJ Parker here. Next you get a match with Sami Zayn versus Justin Gabriel with Tyson Kidd on the outside. Before it, you had Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd in a backstage promo, and it was basically, I think, either Devin or Renee asking Justin whether or not, you know, he's ready for the match with Sami Zayn. Then Tyson comes in and tells Justin that basically, you've been pushed down the card. You used to be in a high spot on Raw, then you were pushed to SmackDown, then you were pushed to main event and Superstars and stuff, and now you're in NXT fighting new guys, and very soon you won't be even there. And he's just pushing him, saying, you know, you're not doing too good right now, and you need to follow what I'm doing. I'm actually getting hype, and you're not. So Gabriel actually denies it and says, you know, I can do it on my own. Tyson comes out with him. They were kind of buddy, so I'm not too sure if that was the key to what they were, you know, trying to push here. But William Regal did push it very well about, you know, everything that these two were doing, and saying, you know, okay, they're kind of having this feud right now, and, you know, they're friends and everything, but, it's not too great of everything going on with them. And they also did push the fact that these two guys used to be a tag team before Tyson Kidd, either Tyson or Gabriel ended up getting injured. So I liked how William Regal pushed that. And William Regal, when he's on commentary, man, he's very, very good. Just the knowledge that he puts out. He talked about him training with Justin Gabriel's father in South Africa and stuff, and the way he pushed that stuff, I thought was a very good job. Just pushing these facts out there, and they're all real and stuff. So I really did like that. So after that, you get a match between Sami Zayn and Justin Gabriel, and the match was pretty slow to begin with. Not a lot of holds and soft hits by Justin. Like I said, the thing of tonight is just not enough toughness from your heels, and just a really lot of soft hits and stuff. It's like they were told not to go 100% in the ring. It gets towards the middle where Sami Zayn hits his Blue Thunder Bomb and he starts going off. Then he tries to go for his Kofi clutch and ends up actually getting it locked in and having Justin Gabriel tap from it. Then picks up the win. Then you get Tyson Kidd, who comes in and attacks Sami Zayn. So your first true heel moment out of Tyson Kidd, and he just basically goes and starts trying to beat up Sami Zayn. So I really did like that. Then you got Justin Gabriel, who looked on at first and then helped with the beat up, so he starts turning heel too. And you get Adrian Neville, who comes out for the assist. So I like what they're pushing between these two guys. But as far as how I feel about this whole NXT, like I said, it wasn't these guys. They weren't going too hard enough for the way I like it. I thought they could have put a lot more energy and a lot more toughness into the moves that they were doing. I thought Sami Zayn in this match really did go out and did what he needed to do here, especially with how he was hitting the hits and how just the sound of everything. But everybody else was kind of real soft tonight, and they were working all for a few matches and they were kind of tired. That's the way it felt tonight from these guys. So next you get WWE Smackdown, which happened on the 4th of July 2014, and your first thing you get is Seth Rollins, who comes out, starts talking about him being the owner of the Money in the Bank and how he's having this little riff with Dean Ambrose, and how Dean Ambrose isn't going to be able to stop him from cashing in. Dean Ambrose comes out, says I can't stop you, basically, and they start going back and forth with each other. And you get Dean Ambrose, who basically says I'm gonna come down there and whoop your ass, and that's what he does. I really did like this opening, and just having Dean Ambrose come and show his toughness, and Seth Rollins kind of being his asshole like he is. I really thought that was pretty cool. You get Randy Orton, who comes in for the assist and starts beating up on Dean Ambrose along with Seth Rollins. Seth is trying to jump Seth tries to work him over, but ends up getting pushed off. Roman Reigns basically comes in and beats up on Seth and Randy Orton, and you basically get Triple H, who comes out and says that there's going to be a match tonight with Randy Orton versus Dean Ambrose, and Roman Reigns can't interfere or he will be taking out his fatal 4-way match at Battleground. That was a lot to say. So next you get an U.S. title, which is Alberto Del Rio versus Sheamus. Now, we've seen these guys face off against each other a lot before, and recently we've seen them go against each other. And I would have to say this one thing: even though they do fight each other a lot, I still think that their matches are very fun to watch, and the way these guys go at it is very fun. Just the moves that they do, I think, is very cool, and just it going down with Alberto Del Rio trying to go for his arm bar, Sheamus powering out, slamming Alberto Del Rio into the corner, and then finally hitting his bro kick for the win and retaining his U.S. title. I thought this match right here itself was very good and very well done. It was probably my match of the night, but like I said, we've seen these guys fight before, so it's nothing new, but it's still entertaining for me to watch these two go at it. And I think that, with a lot of guys who aren't putting 100% in their matches, I think both of these guys come out and they do exactly what they need to do. So next you get the Rhodes brothers, and Stardust and Goldust come out. They were backstage, and they just start going on back and forth with each other about the whole, what is in a name with each other, and trying to figure out their name and stuff like that. And they're just saying jibber jabber basically here. But I like the interaction that they had with each other here, and I actually thought this was a pretty cool segment for these two guys, and just a way for them to interact with each other. Hopefully they can do some of this in the ring and try to get the crowd to interact with them. But I thought this was pretty fun right here. Next, you get Bo Dallas, who comes out and he starts going at Daniel Bryan again, starts calling him little guy, and he hopes the little guy gets better. So I really did like that. And then he gets into a match with, I think it was Diego of the Matadors. And Diego does his little Olay thing, then Bo does it, and just the crowd starts booing him. And just his goofy nature was really funny to me and stuff. And just him as this, like, that kind of white dude that just, thinks everything as somebody else and some of the culture do is hip, so he tries to do the hip stuff. I thought that was really funny. So basically getting a match where him and Diego goes over for a little bit in the match, then Bo Dallas ends up getting a few shots in and hitting his running bulldog, picks up the win here and does this little run around the ring, and he gets into a kind of conversation with El Torito, and tells him, El Torito, that if Bo leaves, he can become taller. I did like that. Then El Torito gores Bo Dallas in the butt. Bo Dallas turns around, tells him not to do that. El Torito wiggles his hips in front of him, and then he gets slammed for his troubles. So I really did like this segment right here. I thought everything that Bo Dallas was doing was really good, and finally at the end, seeing Bo actually get a little bit of heat off of this and getting pissed off at the bull was pretty fun, and it just made him feel more like a heel. The crowd started booing him and stuff for this. So I really did like this whole segment as far as everything that Bo doing. The match was pretty average at best, and a little bit below average to say the least, but I thought everything with Bo and the character they put out was really good, and you could tell he's really getting over. When he came out, he got a real good hype from the crowd, so I thought this whole segment was pretty cool. Next, you get Chris Jericho, who comes out, and he basically going on about him being back on SmackDown and not being here for a full year. Starts talking about his interactions with The Miz and then with Bray Wyatt, and then going on about, Bray Wyatt wants to go crazy, Chris Jericho can go crazy as well. I like that right there. Then you get Bray Wyatt, who comes out and he says, I'm going to introduce myself to you, Chris Jericho, and he says that I'm known by many names. Either he says he's known by, I think he says Maniac and all this other stuff, and basically tells Chris Jericho that he doesn't want to fight with him. Then after that, you get Chris Jericho gets on the mic, starts going off, and The Miz shows up. And Miz basically says that I'm going to interrupt you just like you did me. And he starts talking shit. Then gets in the ring, gets the code breaker for his troubles. And Chris Jericho basically stands tall, and The Miz looking like an asshole. So they're going to have a match on the Raw, Miz versus Chris Jericho. And I thought this segment was pretty chill. And I just love the way that Chris Jericho acts right here, and just having him back was really good. And the promo from Bray Wyatt was pretty good as well. So next you get Paul Heyman, who comes out and he introduces Cesaro. Cesaro comes out when Big E comes out for both of these guys who are going to get into a match with each other. And before anything can happen, I don't know if the bell rung or not, but Cesaro just attacks Big E and starts going at it with him, throwing him around guardrails and stuff and throwing him everywhere. He even throws a chair at him at one point, and it actually hits him in the knee. And Big E just gets up from it once Cesaro comes at him, and he just attacks Cesaro, flips him over, and they basically have a standoff. So I like that they gave Cesaro the aggression role in here as the aggressor, and basically trying to beat up on Big E. But you also had Big E, who came back with the attack and started sticking up for himself, and showing that he's not going to be manhandled by Cesaro. And the refs and Paul Heyman broke it up. So I really did like this whole segment right here, and just showing the toughness from both guys. I thought that was pretty chill. Next, you get a match with Eva Marie versus your new Divas champion AJ Lee, and Paige is on commentary, and you basically get a match where Eva Marie runs from AJ, does a couple of weak holds, tries to interact with the crowd with kisses and stuff, like she's playing like a goofy heel, I guess, with kissing at AJ and stuff like that, like, I guess, blowing kisses at her like she's a heel. I don't know what the hell this girl's doing. But AJ ends up getting her Black Widow onto her. Eva taps, and AJ picks up the win here. Paige comes in, shakes her hand, and is kind of, oh, you're doing okay, and, good win, kind of a heelish way, and then says, oh, here's your champion. So I thought this was an okay segment. Paige didn't really do anything on commentary. She didn't talk. She didn't have on headsets, and basically just congratulated AJ after the match. Kind of, I get what they were doing here, but I wish they could have played this a little bit blatant and not to, kind of hiding the whole heel thing with Paige. I really want her to, when she got in the ring, to attack AJ or something like that, to push that heel aspect with Paige more, if that's the way they're going with her. So Next, you get Sandow, who comes out dressed as Bruce Springsteen. He starts to say what's up to the crowd. Then Rusev and Lana comes out. Rusev beats up Sandow, throws him out the ring, and Lana starts going on about 4th of July and basically shitting on 4th of July. Zeb Culture comes out with Swagger, and they basically have an interaction back and forth. Kind of the same thing that happened with them on Monday night, but it was still very good. You got, Zeb Culture talking about the whole 4th of July thing and talking about our past and how, we built ourselves up and stuff like that, and saying that that's the type of stuff that we have here, like the creating of the internet and cars and stuff like that. Stuff like that didn't come from Russia, and starts saying how good America is. And you get Lana, who starts yelling back at him to shut up. He tells Lana to shut up, and Lana basically takes Rusev out the ring and says, we're not going to have this. So I really did like this segment. Another good segment between both the Russians and Americans, and just their back and forth. I thought that was pretty good here. So next you get Seth Rollins, who comes out for commentary, and you get a match between Dean Ambrose and Randy Orton. This was an okay match here, but you had Dean Ambrose, who did some really good aggression here, and I thought Randy Orton was good with the aggression here as well, in the way that they were going at each other. And I thought this was an okay match. They did a lot of stuff on the outside of the ring. Dean Ambrose again attacked Seth Rollins out of nowhere, and just his passion in these matches is the one thing I get from it, and the way he just acts and the different, just his whole character that he puts on while he's in his matches. I think that's his top thing that he does. Just him as a character very much goes over. He tries to get Randy Orton into the Dirty Deeds, but it doesn't go as off. And then he gets Randy Orton onto the outside and goes for a dive, but ends up getting hit with the briefcase, and the match ends up going over as a DQ in Dean Ambrose's favor. So you get the Rollins start going after him, RKO to Dean. And before Seth Rollins can jump off the ropes, you get Roman Reigns, who comes out and attacks Seth Rollins, throws him off the ropes, and comes in. Superman punches Randy Orton, and before anything else can happen to Orton, he gets saved by Rollins, and they walk up to the stage. And you get basically a stare down between Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins and Randy Orton. So just pushing more up the whole tension between both guys. And I really did like that. I thought that was an okay match there, but just pushing more of a heavy tension between all these guys. So, even more of the stuff that's going to be happening between Randy Orton and Roman Reigns, and especially with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. You really feel the tension in the Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins feud, because you can tell that Dean Ambrose does not like this guy, and Seth Rollins is kind of trying to say that, he should be over it. I really didn't do anything that bad to him, so I really did like that. So as far as this show goes, and I like how, they're still playing up, even though the Shield is not there. These two guys are friends. But as far as this show goes, and the Smackdown altogether, I thought it was a pretty chill show. Smackdown, I would rate it a B-. I thought it did more right than wrong, and I thought it was pretty fun to watch on different spots. It kind of slowed down with the Divas match there, but it was an okay show. NXT, I would give a C-. The matches themselves weren't very good. The hits and stuff really didn't feel that passionate. But as far as the characters go, I thought characters were on point there, and that kind of saved the show for me, and the backstage segments and stuff. In main event, I would give a C+ too. I thought that the stuff at the beginning was pretty cool, and the match at the end was okay. But everything in the middle wasn't really too great, but it did keep the show going, and it was only an hour, so it was okay to watch. So thank you for watching, people. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit me up on the links down below. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram at Compton_animator. And you can find me on Facebook at Christopher Wallace. Hit me up if you want to talk about wrestling. And please, thank you for watching my videos. And keep watching wrestling, people. Thank you. Good night.